Oh, so hello.
Hey.
Hey, so everyone, you are joining myself, Carla Renata, Wilson Morales, and Shawn Edwards for the pregame show, really, because we are about to have a nice long chat leading up to the 22nd annual Black Reel Awards, and it's going to be great. I've seen some of the things we have in store for you, and it's good stuff. Plus, the four of us have big personalities. We know a lot about film. And so what we're going to do is just have fun. We're not going to be nice to each other.
Yes, we are.
We're going to try. Well, we're not going to be like TV nice. We're going to be sitting around enjoying ourselves talking movies nice. How about that?
Yeah, that's good. There you go.
So before we jump into it, what I want to do is have each one of you introduce yourselves for those people who, for some reason, have no idea how amazing you are. We're going to start with Shawn.
Well, my name is Shawn Edwards. I'm a film critic, Fox 4 News, Kansas City, Missouri, and the executive producer of the Critics' Choice Association's Celebration of Black Cinema. And also co-founder of AFCA and best friends with Wilson Morales and the Kirby Critic.
Absolutely. Wilson.
Wilson Morales, editor and founder of Black Film and TV, member of numerous organizations, Critics' Choice Association, NAACP Image Awards, Black Critics Film Circle, and a number of other places. Known these guys for over 20 years. It's always fun to just be out here talking about movies.
Yeah.
And my good sister, fellow Bison, Carla, what's up?
What's up, my Bison sister? Yes, HU, you know. Anyway, I am gotta do it.
Every time.
I'm Carla Renata, aka the Kirby Film Critic. I, like Wilson and Shawn, belong to a variety of different film critics organizations, including AFCA, Critics' Choice, so on and so forth. You can find my podcast every Monday night at 5 p.m. on YouTube, The Kirby Critic with Carla Renata, where I do reviews of films and I do interviews with people above and below the line in the film industry. Oh, and did I say it again? I'm a graduate of Howard University.
We out here celebrating the second best HBCU. I'll let y'all slide.
Won't start none, won't be none, okay?
I'll let y'all have your moment. There's nothing wrong with second place.
If we're number two, there is no number one.
Boom. Tell it. Tell it.
So, we're going to jump in. What we're going to do is we're going to announce some of the nominees who will not be on the big show, but are no less beloved because they've got the four of us. And so we'll have those nominees on screen, and then I'll announce who the winner is. And in between that, we're going to chat a bit. And I was trying to think if I wanted to start off chatting, warm everybody up, or if I wanted to start out with our first round of 3 nominees.
Let's start with the nominees.
Yeah.
They did the work. They made the movies.
They did the hard work so that they make our jobs easier. And by the way, I should say this. I am Sherin Nicole. I am a member of the Black Reel Awards. I am also a member of CCA. Can I say that again? CCA. I am the newbie of the gang. I am just getting to know everyone here. I am the CMO of Idobi Network, and I'm a member of AWFJ and a lot of other fun things. And I'm also a designer who helped out with a big surprise we have coming up later tonight. So now let's get into these nominees. So our first round of nominees are for Outstanding Voice Performance. So everyone, you're going to see the card on screen right now presenting all of our nominees. And the winner is Maya Rudolph for The Mitchells versus the Machines. Actually, the first Black Reel Award for Maya Rudolph. And a good fact about that, which we call a real fact, is Rudolph becomes the 3rd woman to win in this category. Can we give Maya Rudolph some love?
She's dope, man. She is dope with the voices. Maya's dope with the voices.
And of course, she came by very honestly because she's the daughter of Minnie Riperton. So great voices running that family. Yeah. So up next, we have Outstanding Short Film. Again, you are all seeing the card that displays those outstanding nominees. And the winner is Coffee, Jordan Pitt. This is the first Black Reel Award win for Jordan Pitt. Again, round of applause. Thank you.
Congrats, Jordan Pitt.
Yes.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. You know you're a winner if Jordan is your name. It just represents excellence.
All the time. And the third for this particular round is Outstanding Independent Documentary. We're going to put those nominees up. And the winner is 100 Years from Mississippi, Terebu Batsira Kirkland. This is the first Black Reel Award for Terebu Batsira Kirkland. So again, yay.
Yeah, congrats on that. Those are never easy to make, even harder to get financed.
That is so true.
Absolutely.
So you guys, for our first topic, can we talk a little bit about Will Smith facing off with Denzel Washington for the second time for Outstanding Actor? And I have some facts for y'all before we jump in. Washington has won this category 5 times, while Smith, who earned his 5 nominations in this category, is hoping to win for the first time. Smith has had a run of bad luck losing to Denzel for Training Day, Terrence Howard for Hustle and Flow over Hitch, Forrest Whitaker for The Last King of Scotland over The Pursuit of Happiness, and Michael B. Jordan for Creed over Concussion. So what do y'all think?
That's not bad luck. He wasn't supposed to win none of those.
Listen, he was in good company.
Yeah,
he was either going to be in second place or like, how did he even get in the race?
Yeah.
This is Will Smith to lose. That's what I say. I say this.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
this time around.
Yeah. I agree with Carla because we're whether it's the Black Reel Awards or whether it's the Oscars, it's not always about the performance. Sometimes it is about the career achievement package. He's well loved. He's made a lot of money for the industry, has a fantastic personality, and he's out here on them streets working it. So like Carla said, it's his to lose. Plus the role and the character Denzel played in the tragedy of Macbeth just doesn't resonate when it comes to voting. I'm sorry. It's Shakespearean. It's black and white. The film was scary. I don't know what was going on. I didn't even like it. So,
well, it's also a trajectory in terms of like, had Denzel, let's just say, had he never won a Best Actor, then he would be getting the votes. Oh, it's Denzel's time.
Not for no tragedy of Macbeth. No,
but sometimes it comes to that place because half the win is political. Mm-hmm. So Denzel has 2 wins. Will has none. He's lost twice, obviously, at the Oscars for two other Black actors.
Dude, we just said that.
So we'll see.
But he could have won it for Ali. He could have.
Listen, this is the thing. In my humble opinion, I think that this work that he is doing in King Richard is a culmination of every piece of work that he's done. This is his best work on screen. He doesn't look like a novice. He looks like he knows what he's doing. It's very evident that he put a lot of character work and research into playing Richard Williams. He talked to their daughters. He talked to his...
He put the work in.
His ex-wife. I mean, he really... Yes, Shawn, he did the work. He really put the work in. And it would just be nice to see a brother get some love, and not see him get passed over yet again.
Yeah,
and let's be honest.
Yeah, and let's be honest.
I was going to say, he's put out the autobiography as well, which people are blown away by. So it's a good year to kind of
that docuseries over on Apple.
That's the thing.
Stuff.
That's
so
people.
He's very much up in everybody's face right now. It's like everywhere you turn, there's Will Smith. You know what I mean? And as far as Denzel Washington is concerned, to both Shawn and Wilson's point, Denzel Washington has been lauded up on numerous times. He would not be hurt if he lost. Let's just say that, because he's won before. Second of all, the tragedy of Macbeth is fierce only because it shows Black people in Shakespeare, which we never ever see on stage or on screen.
And outside of Othello.
Yes, the play itself is scary. It's scary when you see it on the stage, let alone on the screen. But I think, like Shawn said, a lot of people let me just be blunt. A lot of white people don't necessarily like seeing Black people do the classics. So they're not going to vote for that. They're not. They don't want to see people doing the classics.
Carla's right. And then on the backside of that, more people pretend to like Shakespeare than actually like Shakespeare. Let's just keep it real. But in
this film, because they cast who they cast in the movie, thanks to Joel.
Yeah.
Because of who the cast was, you were able, if you had never seen a Shakespeare play or a Shakespearean movie in your life, you were able to follow along with the storyline for that reason. So I liked the film and I thought it was beautifully shot. It was crazy. It was a crazy film, but it was crazy in a very creative and unique way. But bringing it back to what we were discussing, if Denzel lost, it won't be no loss, really. I mean, because he's already won by having been in the game and being nominated 5 times. So there you have it.
Plus, Denzel's at the threshold. It's going to take a lot for them to pull the trigger to give him number 3. Because that puts him in a hole. Tom Hanks don't even have 3. That puts you in a different category.
3, but Tom Hanks has 2 Best Actor wins, which is a little bit bigger than 1 Best Actor.
See, tonight we're actually talking Black Reels, not Oscars, y'all.
Yes.
Yeah, we're talking about Black Reels.
Yeah, he ain't winning. Denzel ain't winning the Black Reel either. Denzel ain't winning the Black Reel either.
In the category of Black Reels, I really think it's Will Smith to lose.
Yep.
I think so too. That's a great place to end. Let's go to our next round of winners, actually. So let's get into block 2. You guys ready?
Yeah.
We've got outstanding cinematography, and you're going to see those nominees up right now. And the winner is, apropos to this conversation, The Tragedy of Macbeth. Bruno Delbonnel. This is the first Black Reel Award win for Bruno Delbonnel. And I have to say, you guys, that as a visual artist, cinematography is a part of my game. The Tragedy of Macbeth is art. It just stunning visually. There's a lot of homages to Kurosawa. There's homages to Escher. You just see so much of art history in that film. And that's what I appreciated most about it.
Yeah, I really appreciated the use of shadows, the way that he uses the use of shadows in that film, because it is predominantly and mostly black and white. I loved that because the shadows, the way they went in and out of the shadows, and the way that, especially that there was this one scene where he's walking toward what you think is maybe a gun or a knife, and it ends up just being a doorknob. That was brilliant. I loved that.
So outstanding costume design, you guys. We're going to look at those nominees. And the winner is The Harder They Fall, Antoinette MESSAM. This is also the first Black Reel Award win for Antoinette MESSAM. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And our final for this round is Outstanding Production Design. Nominees up. And the winner is The Tragedy of Macbeth. Stefan Decant. This is the first Black Reel Award win for Stefan and the second win for The Tragedy of Macbeth. Okay, y'all. So we're going to get a little bit messy. Can we get messy?
Yeah.
All right. We have got the Battle of the Carters. Beyonce versus Jay-Z in the bout for supremacy to take the outstanding song. Who you got?
Wilson, jump on it.
I've got Beyonce for Be Alive for King Richard.
Okay, prove your point, my lad.
Well, at the end of the day, when you look at both movies, which is the better movie? I personally like King Richard more than I did for The Harder They Fall. And Beyonce's got the title, the end title. And sometimes there are songs that play well with a movie, and then there are those that play well afterwards. Now, at the end of the day, when you're watching that movie, the song goes along with the score, but Beyonce stands out. Even though with The Harder They Fall, Jay-Z and Kid Cudi's song is playing well on Spotify, then, which one are you going to remember more after you saw the movie?
The Jay-Z song. Because the Jay-Z song is actually, the way it's constructed, the Jay-Z song is better. Because if you listen to the lyrics and listen to the bars, it basically sums up the entire plot of the movie before you see the movie. The Beyonce song is a throwaway song that they could just lay over the end credits so that it become eligible for awards. It had nothing at all to do with the thematics of King Richard. It's just a feel-good walk out of the theater or like walk away from your television, as the end credits roll. But she's winning because of her name, Beyonce, and people know her. But people don't know that Beyonce song at all. like if you go on the streets right now and you ask 100 people, what's the name of the Beyonce song that played along King Richard's? They'd be like, I didn't even know she had a song that was a part of King Richard.
Well, to your point, Shawn, I have to say that for me, it is always the emotional impact of a song and how it happens within a film, right? Because that's the whole point, is that a great song makes a great moment more memorable, right? So when I hear Harder They Fall and I see that very Sergio Leone-esque opening of that film, right?
Guns go bang.
Guns go bang. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, yeah. I'm feeling everything about what it sets up, the sonics of it, and how it's setting me up not only for a Western, but like, almost like an anachronistic Western, because I'm getting this modern song with this very old school kind of presentation. And then I'm getting those Sergio Leone, graphics. Well, Sergio Leone, cinematographer, but with James Samuel, his own twist. And the whole brew is magic. If I'm going to be alive, I'm watching credits.
But she winning though. She winning the Black Reel. She winning the Black Reel.
Let me just weigh in on this. I think that all three of y'all have had really excellent points, and I just want to bring this one other point to everything that y'all have already said. When Jay-Z scores a film or contributes a song to a film, he always adds a contemporary feel to a period piece. He did it with The Great Gatsby, right? With Leo in it. He did it with that film, because that's a very period piece. It's 20s, 30s, and we had all this modern day music, hip hop music spun throughout that film, which you remember. Like, you don't remember much about that movie, but you do remember that hip hop score being thrown all the way through that film, right? So I think that everybody has a really good point, and I think, what if we come up with a tie? Like, I'm just going to throw that out there. What if husband and wife have a little tie situation going on? It could be cute. It
would be very cute, but Tim Gordon, founder and CEO of the Black Reel Awards, will not allow a tie.
Well, they'll have to fight it out in the bedroom.
Right? He's special.
Ooh.
All right. Well, I'm going to stay out the bedroom. That's not my business.
Because she winning and he losing. So there you go.
Well, we'll see. You never know. The Black Reel voters have surprised us before.
Well, not with these first couple winners. Ain't nothing surprising about those so far.
Shawn Edwards drawing the shade.
And in the messy segment. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So we're gonna have a special conversation coming up. But before that, let's go into the third awards block. Yeah. So we've got outstanding editing. Those nominees are up now. And the Black Reel goes to The Harder They Fall. I'm telling you, it's like, it's perfect alignment, is it not? Tom Eagles, this is the first Black Reel Award for Tom and the first win for The Harder They Fall. But I don't think that's true. I think The Harder They Fall has already won. Don't you?
Well, congrats again. I just wish people understood how hard it is to edit a documentary, because the best edited film of the year was Summer of Soul.
Yes. I can rock with that. I definitely
agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
That's the best edited film of the year.
Yeah.
Well, people don't notice editing in documentaries. They notice the vehicle, right?
That's why I just said they don't notice it. But that's technically if you ask professional editors, they will tell you that's the best edited film.
Because of all that archival footage. You got to comb through all that archival footage, and you got to decide
and make it
string it
tell a story.
where it makes sense.
Yeah,
because you have a lot more hours, a lot more footage with documentaries, and you have to how do you put 5-6 hours and crunching down to 90 minutes or 2 hours, and then decide what goes first, what goes last. And no shade to any of the feature films, because we all know that some of these movies are not shot in sequence.
No movie shot
in sequence
ever.
Unless it's experimental. That's not
even those. You can't shoot a movie in sequence.
They never shoot movies in sequence. Never.
Well, I've seen like indie films that are like one room, and but
it It might be in one room, but they don't shoot it in sequence. I promise.
I promise you that. Yeah.
I promise.
Carla live on set.
As the only person on this panel that is also an actor, I promise you they don't shoot it in sequence.
Exactly. They don't shoot in sequence.
Well, let's go to what's a nice setup is Outstanding First Screenplay.
Uh-oh.
I know we've got 3 nominees for that. I'll go ahead and call them out while you look at them. In the Heights, Passing, and Zola. And the winner is Passing.
Yes.
Yes. Now I'm happy.
Black Reel Award for Rebecca Hall. And here's a real fact for you guys. Hall becomes the 4th woman to win in this category.
I am glad Passing is getting some love, man.
Yes, thank you.
I've been diehard, like cheerleader Passing, and for Rebecca, like all season long. It's finally nice to see them get some love. Yes.
Ditto. I ditto that. Congrats.
And the third in our nominations are Outstanding Score, or is Outstanding Score.
Here's the score.
Here is the score. So you guys are seeing those up on your screen, and the winner is, I'm going to let Shawn, because I know Shawn already guessed. Who is it, Shawn?
The Harder They Fall.
James Samuel. This is the first Black Reel Award win for James. Real fact, Samuel becomes the first person to be nominated as a producer, director, screenwriter, songwriter, and composer in the same year. He's doing it.
So the guy associated with the Black Reel Awards who gets the biggest check is this facts guy, because you were killing it with these facts. I'm loving it. And that dude was working, or that lady was working overtime on these facts.
I got a fun fact on the Harder They Fall that y'all don't know.
Oh, okay. Tell us.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I did the looping for that film.
Did you?
You did? Nice.
Beautiful.
Now, for all the people out there who don't know what looping is, please explain.
Okay.
Looping is basically background for vocals. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
I was all that stuff in the bars and out in the street when they were fighting and all that. I did the vocal looping for all of that stuff.
Cool.
That is so cool. Thank you. Real facts, y'all.
Look at that. She already, come on. She already stunned it. She said she's the only person on the panel that works on the set. I'm saving my stunts for later. Okay,
you know what? I'm ready for y'all to stunt. Go ahead. Show me you got shoulders.
She is legit the only person who's like an actor on set. Yeah. And I'm like the Diddy of the group. I sign checks.
Oh, did y'all see that humble brag? Look, that's boss. Y'all saw that?
And yet again, we're back in a messy segment. Thank you and good night.
You the one making all that residual money. Look, she the one making all the residual money. She the one stunting. It's like, look, Jay-Z produced this film that I did the looping on.
Well, let's go to the pinnacle. Okay.
Okay, what's the pinnacle?
We would like to talk about Sidney Poitier.
Okay. Now let's get respectful.
Let's get real with it, because the great Sidney Poitier left us this year. And when we talk about legacy, you guys, tell me about the legacy of Sidney Poitier for you.
I want to go first on that one because it's short and sweet. In addition to all the things that we already know, people forget that Sidney Poitier was funny. Those comedies, those buddy comedies that he did with
the Unnamed,
hilarious.
Yes,
hilarious. And they produced those films too. People forget about that, and people also forget that with A Warm December, that was the first time a Black man had directed a Black couple as a romantic couple in a film. It was the
first time.
It was the second time he had directed, but the first time a Black couple was directed on screen for the masses to see. People forget about that.
He didn't just open them, he kicked down the doors, but he kicked them down with elegance and such grace.
Well, I like what you, but I like that you say that he kicked open the door, but it goes, for me, I really appreciate what he did because it goes deeper than that. Because you can kick the door down all you want.
But he held it open.
But to be able to walk through the door and keep walking through that door and stay there. But not only just survive, I don't think people understand. He was doing what he was doing when he was the only one. he was carrying the weight of an entire race. He was carrying the burden of hundreds of years of negative perceptions of Black people, not just on screen, but in general. Like, did you know the amount of weight that is? That means he can't mess up when he's being a professional. He can't mess up when he's off screen. I can't even imagine the amount of pressure he had on him. It's just, it blows me away.
It does blow your mind. And you know, the thing about it that goes along with what you're saying, Shawn, is he was doing this, like, unlike one of his like contemporaries and very good friends, Harry Belafonte. He was doing this as a dark-skinned Black man.
Well, that too.
Yeah. And no, but that's a major point, because we still have trouble getting dark-skinned folks on screen consistently now. And Sidney Poitier, no, we do. No, we do. And now, I mean, it's starting to change, but starting to 2022 is a problem. And he was doing it at a time where racism overtly was at one of its highs, right?
Oh, no. When he did it, yeah. But Wilson, what were you going to say?
I was saying that, like, you know, you mentioned the point that, like, you know, he had to be on his best behavior because he's, you know, he had to hold the door. He had to be on his best behavior because he had to hold that door open for others to come through. Even when, you know, you think about when he won the Oscar, he could have said, "Oh, I'm the first Black man," blah, blah, blah. But he knows that, you know, this is one shot right now. We don't know if he says that, he'll never get back. And when he died, and I did a whole bunch of postings about all the movies that he did, you know, the fact that he was on the cover, there are some movies that he was the lead where he wasn't even on the cover of the poster. You know, he wasn't even billed as the lead, even though we know this is the movie. You think about In the Heat of the Night, he wasn't even nominated. You know, and he's the first thing you think about.
That heard around the world.
You know, he wasn't even nominated. And there was a movie that he did where I talked to one of the actors from West Side Story, and it was set in like Yugoslavia, and he plays, you know, like the king of the Moors or something like that. And Sidney Poitier goes, "Well, where's my army?" And now all these white men in blackface. And the producer's like, we couldn't find any Black men. He goes, "You couldn't go to Africa or anywhere nearby to find Black actors? Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave the set and come back when you bring Black actors." And they shut the set down. They shut the set down for 2 weeks to bring in Black actors. You know, just all of, that's what you call power at that point in time.
And that's why I was going to say he was never on his best behavior. He was always elegant, but he was never on his best behavior. He was fighting for civil rights. He was pushing to the forefront. He's going to England to make films, unheard of. This person is, I mean, we use the word iconic loosely, but no, this is definitive.
And I just want to say one thing. It's interesting you said England. He's been nominated for a BAFTA twice, you know, obviously in his career. And you've got Denzel Washington with over 40 years, never once, not one time getting a BAFTA nomination. You know, so it's interesting, like, you know, they don't nominate Black Americans to begin with. You know, Will Smith got nominated this time around for his first time, but Sidney, throughout his illustrious careers, was able to get 2 nominations. Denzel, with over 40 years, has yet to get a BAFTA nomination.
There you go. So who wants to take the final thought on Sidney Poitier for this particular broadcast?
I'll take it.
Go ahead, Carla.
Both of you.
What I have to say is very brief, and you can bring it home. He represented an entire race in front of the camera and behind the camera, and that's important to note out. He wasn't just iconic in front of the camera. He was iconic behind the camera, where nobody could see him, where nobody could hear him.
Stir Crazy, first Black man to have a $100 million budget, $100 million grossing film.
Wow. Which film was that, Wilson?
Stir Crazy.
Stir Crazy.
Oh, that was Stir. Okay. And now, Shawn, you also had a thought.
Now, she closed it out. All I want to say is none of us would be here without him. Point blank.
Absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely right. All right. Well, that was a lovely tribute. So we're going to go into our let's see, we're into a brand new, I think we're on our 4th block.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, of our winners. So this one up next is Outstanding Breakthrough Performance, Male. So you're looking at those nominees. And the winner is Anthony Ramos, In the Heights. And real fact brought to us, Shawn, by Cordell Martin, Ramos became the first actor to win in this category for a musical.
Oh.
What does that look on your face, Shawn, when she called his name?
I didn't, because she was saying, let me know who the stat guy was. I said the stat guy
Anthony Ramos did a good job, great job in The Heights. You know, I really liked that film, and you know,
it was better than West Side Story.
You know, he totally. You know, he came out obviously as one of the members from Hamilton, the musical, and to see him go from being like the third or fourth actor in that show to taking on a leading role in this movie, and obviously Hollywood has heard him, because he's now going to be leading the next franchise. He's going to be in the back into the Transformer franchise as a lead, you know, as an Hispanic lead, you know. So that's good to see that, you know, that the Hollywood sees him and they hear him, and they're going to try to put him in that position where he can open more doors.
All right, so let's look at the counterpart to that. We have outstanding breakthrough performance. It says female, but female could be of any species. So I'm going to say woman. And we're going to see those nominations up there now. And I'm betting you guys can guess who the winner is, but I'm going to say the Black Reel Award goes to ARIANA DeBose for West Side Story.
My girl.
Good. She's great.
My
Real
girl.
fact, ARIANA becomes the first Afro-Latina to win in this category. Also, for the first time ever in Black Reel Awards history, all 5 outstanding film nominees have won in at least one category.
What's interesting is that ARIANA DeBose, for those who don't know, and Anthony Ramos were both in Hamilton.
That is very true. That's very true.
Yeah.
That's a good fact. And then finally, we have Outstanding Emerging Director. You're going to see those nominees now. And guns go bang, because the winner is James Samuel for The Harder They Fall. Samuel wins his second Black Reel Award this evening. He won earlier in our show for Outstanding Score.
You know, I met James a couple of years ago when he had a short film using the same Black cowboy actors, and to see him come back years later, you know, to do a feature film using different actors, but you know, his passion.
They die at dawn, right?
Huh? Yeah, they die by dawn.
Die by dawn. Yeah.
His passion to want to make sure that folks know who these Black cowboys were. You know, because you know, short films don't get a lot of play. You know, unless you see them at a festival, they don't get played on TV, and if they do,
don't get no play.
It's when they do, it's used as a filler, which you don't pay attention to. You know, so they you know, so to see him make a feature film and says, "I'm going to come back and I'm going to ram it down your throat. I want you to know who these Black cowboys were, all in once. You know, the Avengers of Black cowboys." You know, I admire his passion.
Well, you know, I have to say, Wilson, can we talk a little bit about the importance of the Black Western?
It's something that never gets talked about. You know, they've been here and there, but they've never really been focused on. You know, you can go back to a few films, 70s and the 80s, but you know, but at the same time, it's also part of the business. You know, it's also like you want to make it, but you know, powers that be are going to say, can we make money off of it? Who's going to see it? Is there anything that we can use that people have seen? You know, unless, you know, back then you didn't have the big names, you know, and this is all goes towards Netflix because your people.
Unless you saw, my first introduction to Blacks in the Old West was Buck and the Preacher, speaking of Sidney Poitier. So
absolutely phenomenal film.
You need a big name. You need a big name. Obviously.
But I'm glad he's given you know, Blacks in the Old West some love, because the way they're abolishing Black history and history books now,
yeah,
you know, they already weren't telling that story, so now it really doesn't have a chance. So thank God he made the film. We've
got what is it, Thomasine and Bushrod. We've got things like, which I think actually Django is partially based on The Skin Game with what is James Garner and Louis Gossett Jr. So you've got like this long history of Black Westerns. And of course, for Black American communities, the Western was a big part of like family viewing, right? But very seldom were we featured, right?
Right, yeah. Huge. Especially back in the day, huge.
Yeah, my dad loves watching Westerns. That's jam.
Yes, exactly. My godfather and my father, we would watch Westerns together. I'm sitting around watching Destry Rides Again and all of these films. But when we saw Woody Strode, are you kidding me? You know, it blew my mind. Yeah.
Look at what's the Lauren Green, you know, you had the Big Valley back in the day.
Bonanza.
You know, it's like, yeah, Bonanza, you know, you had these shows that lasted 15, 20 years. And look what's happening now. What's the top show on cable? Yellowstone, you know? So, like, people are coming back to Western. Now we just got to add some color to it.
Got to add some color to it, yeah. All right, you guys. So we have announced all of our nominees. I must have been like popping because I didn't know I went through them so fast. But now that means that for the remainder of the show, which is about 10, 15 minutes, we just get to talk. So tell me, you guys, in reference to I have topics we can talk about, but I actually want to hear from each of you. What's on your mind in regards to these Black reels? Anything?
You know, there's a lot of nominees, and you know, the good thing about the Black Reel Awards is that you're recognizing talent that are not being recognized elsewhere. You know, and a lot of them, obviously, some of them were able to get Oscar nominations, but at the same time, we're giving a highlight to some of the smaller films or some of the films that weren't seen everywhere, whether it's Passing or Zola, you know, or you know, other films that they got mentioned, because sometimes once the Oscar nominations come out, you tend to forget the other films that, you know, they weren't nominated. So the Black Reel Award is a way of reflecting, because, you know, at the end of the day, it's not getting as highly profiled as the NAACP, which doesn't always cover all of the smaller films. They're all about, you know, no shade, but they try to mention the bigger films, you know, and you want to mention the behind, you know, and then the NAACP doesn't cover below the line talent.
Oh,
you know?
That's true. Yeah.
So here you're recognizing those, whether it's production design, costume designer, cinematography, you know, whether they're Black or Hispanic or people of color, so that they can get their recognition one way or the other.
All right, Carla, any thoughts from you?
You know, I echo everything that Wilson has said, because he's absolutely right. Films like 9 Days or The French Dispatch or even Swan Song are films that have kind of flown under the radar a little bit, especially Swan Song with Mahershala Ali, because what he did in that movie was bananas.
And we don't get enough soft sci-fi, especially with Black people, you know, because there's this idea that we don't exist in fantasy, we don't exist in sci-fi, right? I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
no, of course.
Now, I have a question for my other colleagues. You know, obviously all of us, we all watch movies. When's the last time you saw a film where one actor played two roles, you know, opposite each other? You know, I can't recall right now. It's like, do you?
Well, they have that. I think it's on Amazon. It's either on Amazon or Hulu. That thing called Solos, where there's a bunch of actors playing opposite themselves on that. So that's on the small screen, but I can't recall seeing that on the big screen, like in a movie theater. But on the small screen, they've got Uzo Aduba playing opposite herself, which is bananas what she's doing in that role. They've got
Anthony Mackie.
Yes, Anthony Mackie. Thank you. So you know, you do see it, and just as an actor, to let you know, to do that takes some skill. That takes some skill and some really grounded work to pull that off.
It takes a lot of skill. But you know what else takes? You know what else takes more skill? Choosing the right platform to distribute your movie. Because if Swan Song was distributed by Netflix, Mahershala, I guarantee you, would be in the running for his third Oscar.
Break that down for us, Shawn.
He did get a BAFTA nomination, you know, so like, give him credit.
You know, a lot of times, you know, these awards, whether it's the Black Reel Awards, whether it's the Oscars or whatever, it matters how much the platform that distributes your film pushes your film by creating a budget to compete in the award space. And, you know, we're all privy to sort of like behind the scenes and the inner workings of the for-your consideration campaigns that streamers and studios mount. And, you know, if I'm just being honest, because they don't pay me, so I don't care what I say, Apple TV sucks. They dropped the ball with Swan Song. They need to fire the people who work in their marketing department because they were horrible. They didn't know what they had on their hands, and they cost that man an Oscar. Apple.
It's interesting that like Apple also put out the Tragedy Macbeth, where Mahershala gets a BAFTA nomination.
Watch that too.
Doesn't. And you know, and then vice versa, the Oscar, Denzel gets the nomination, but Mahershala is not even recognized. You know, he's not even looked upon.
This is the thing. This is the thing with all of that. I feel like entities like Apple TV Plus and Netflix, they put out so much content in the course of a year that when it gets to this time of the year where they actually have to streamline what they're going to throw their dollars behind in terms of FYC and award contention.
Apple had 2 movies.
Listen, I'm just saying they
had 2 movies.
Y'all know as well as I do, they sit and they decide what they're going to streamline and throw their money behind. And as far as Netflix is concerned, I love Netflix and Netflix has been very kind to me, but I'm a little salty that they didn't do Passing right. Like, you know,
they did a lot. They did a lot.
No,
you know?
They didn't do as much Passing as they did for The Power of the Dog. I'm just saying.
No, they did not.
The Power of the Dog was
right.
very big. That was the horse they chose, and
that's what
all
I'm
of
saying. The horse they chose.
Well, here's the thing. Like, think about it. You know, both Ruth and Tessa got BAFTA nominations, and Rebecca got a nomination for BAFTA. Ruth got a SAG nomination.
But you're being a little misleading now because the BAFTA process is completely different. Because they have,
but they will recognize.
No. They have a special select. It's a whole completely different process because they have that. They put in place that selection committee. So that selection committee dilutes the whole FYC strategy and all of that because it's basically like a committee that's been mandated, which is why you saw it play out that way.
Right. So let me bring this back, you guys, to the glory of the Black Reels. What does this award mean in this conversation that we're having? This recognition, as Carla was beginning to say, things like 9 days. Wilson Duke was phenomenal in 9 days. When we're talking about Mahershala Ali and Swan Song, what does this Black Reel mean to our culture?
For a film like Passing and for Rebecca and for Tessa and for Ruth, it means everything.
Everything.
Because I believe in this particular, and can we just talk about this for a second while we talk about Passing? Why is it that whenever we have a film, we, meaning us, have a film where there's 2 African-American people in the film that are the leads, why do we always want to make one of them best supporting when they're co-leads? I don't get that.
Because they're going to split. They split each other's votes. You know, at the end of the day,
they do it.
In some categories, as we all know, you can only choose 2 or 3. You know, and you're better off. You like both of them, but they're going to split each other's vote. And sometimes, in some cases, because they split each other's vote, their numbers are dropped when you're adding it all collectively. Whereas, you know, if you put them in separate categories, they'll get a higher. You know,
well, both performances were great, and both will benefit from the Black Reel Awards, and that's why the Black Reel Awards exist. Because sometimes you just got to say, forget everything else. We're going to celebrate our own.
That
part. Well said. So let's move into another topic, but can we talk? Well, we've already, actually, guys, we've covered a lot. We've pretty much talked about 2 categories: outstanding actress, and this actually goes to Carla's point, but we've got Halle Berry for Bruised, we've got Tessa Thompson for Passing, we've got Jennifer Hudson for Respect, Zazie Beetz for The Harder They Fall, and Taylor Page for Zola, right? But then in outstanding supporting actress, now see, we mix it up with Ruth Negga for Passing, Ariana DeBose, West Side Story, Anjanou Ellis, King Richard, Regina King, The Harder They Fall, and Rita Moreno, West Side Story.
Can I just say something real quick, though? I don't want to gloss over the whole Jennifer Hudson situation.
Okay.
Because
give it to us.
I thought what she did as an actress was phenomenal because it's not easy to act and sing at the same time. And I know that Respect wasn't the best movie, but there have always been others who have been in movies that weren't the best, but their performances were still lauded. And I don't understand why that's not happening with Jennifer Hudson.
I'm going to tell you why it happened with Jennifer Hudson, because in the same year, we had the other film that came out on television, right? Genius Aretha on National Geographic.
Cynthia Erivo.
Erivo. I think if you didn't have that performance rolling around in the back of your head, then when Jennifer's performance came up, we would only be talking about Jennifer. But I think it's like you talked about splitting votes. I think in people's minds, there was a split in who gave the better Aretha performance, Cynthia for Jennifer, even though
I thought
on television. You know,
well, in my humble opinion, I thought the Jennifer Hudson performance was better, but the Genius Aretha was a better series. It told the story better, but they had an advantage because it was a series and
8
not
hours.
a 2-hour movie. Right.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying is people didn't have that rolling around in their head.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know what I mean?
And there's a lot of factors. You know, there's a lot of factors that you got to remember that Respect was supposed to come out in 2020, way before Genius, and had it come out in 2020 in October, Jennifer would be in the running. They held back and they came out in August, which is way before the festival starts. So the way I see it, Jennifer jump-started the Best Actress conversation, but you knew there were 4 other slots, and everybody's just waiting to see, like, okay, here are the other movies. And in my opinion, I think unless Jennifer gave the performance like Will Smith, where it's hands down, she got this, doesn't matter who else comes in the race. If you don't think that after you saw the movie, she was primed to keep going down and not get a nomination. And so the movie came out in August. So if it came out in October, you get free marketing. MGM doesn't have to go out and bring in back Jennifer to do campaigning, because in October you get free marketing. People talk about it, you know, for the same reason when talking about Cynthia Erivo, Harriet came out in October. People found that film to be mediocre, but it was within the Oscar time frame. It got her to be amongst the best.
But that's why people hate award shows now, because that's all BS.
Part of it's politics. We all know.
That's why nobody's watching this.
But it also is why we don't have like what we call a singular performance that's going to push Jennifer Hudson forward, right? But I want to ask you guys about something. This film is definitely not being talked about, and that's Bruised. Why is that?
Because it's Halle Berry. And I got a big theory about that. Hollywood does Halle Berry wrong. I am the biggest proponent Halle Berry has in Hollywood that is a critic. I'm going to tell you that right now, because I think she is one of the most talented people in the industry. And this is why. I think that people hold what she looks like against her. That woman is smart. She has done every type of role you could possibly imagine on screen. And then when Hollywood decided they wanted to phase her out because she was getting older, never mind, they put these 70, 80-year-old men in movies with people 20, 30, 40 years their junior. When Hollywood decided it wanted to do that, she was like, let me go over here and be a fighter, and let me produce this movie. And let me direct it too. And then she produced The Wedding a long time ago. Remember that? She was on Oprah when Oprah's show was on. She was talking about that. This is not the first time that Halle Berry has produced something. She did Lackawanna Blues too. She produced that. She's very, very smart,
their eyes were
very,
watching
very savvy. And I think people overlook her. They forget how smart and savvy she is. They either forget or they're not aware. And it makes me mad. Please don't even get me started.
I'll say to your credit, you're right.
One second, Wilson. Shawn just honored Halle Berry.
For that reason.
Yeah, she deserved it. Because we knew she wasn't. Because look, if Sandra Bullock had made a movie about being an MMA fighter and directed it, oh my God. She'd be
$50 million baby.
She'd be on the cover of Variety, Hollywood Reporter. She'd be doing all the sit-down conversations. And I'm going to keep it real. A lot of us would be fawning over her the way that we aren't over Halle. And, I interact with them every day. Let's not keep, like Chuck D said, every brother not a brother.
Yeah, here's a funny thing. So, like, the movie got picked up from Toronto last year. Yeah, I don't know anybody that saw it. So I was kind of worried about, like, what's going on? No one saw it in Toronto. What's the buzzword? And the fact that, you know, it only appeared in one of the festivals that Netflix, you know, AFI, as opposed to the other films that Netflix took to almost every festival. Lost Daughter, Passing, Power of the Dog, Hand of God. They pretty much appeared in the majority of the festivals. And obviously, most of those movies got accolades, Oscar nominations, and so forth. Halle's only went to AFI. So that was like, okay, they're not really pushing her to be amongst the race out there. So they go. And as far as the roles she's had,
but it shouldn't be about that. We're all critics. We all work for media outlets. We have the power to celebrate. We have the power to talk about.
I will say, as talented as she is, I'll be the first one also to say, not all of those movies were great. She's definitely were bold enough to take them.
But not all of everybody's movies are great.
Movies are great.
You know?
That part.
I mean, but there's some people, like if we talk about Nicole Kidman, she just gets nominated for showing up.
Her stuff ain't great.
She gets nominated because she got prosthetics. Think about it. Every time they go like this about Nicole Kidman is because she got prosthetics on her face. The last time they did it, she was in the hours. How about we just celebrate her acting ability and not the fact that she changed her physical appearance?
How about that? And Halle Berry deserves our accolades. So I'm glad Celebration of Black Cinema did that.
Yes.
And I'm glad that Black Reels are recognizing her. So we are going to close out. We are in our final 3 minutes of this show. And I got to say, you guys.
Oh, let's do it. Happy time.
I could talk to y'all all night about film. Like, you know, people say that. I'm not playing. I could talk to you all night about film because there's such a depth of knowledge. There's so much love for the medium. And you know, it's just fantastic to explore the stories that change us, right? So I want to give each of you a chance, about a minute, you only have a minute each, to just tell me what your expectation is for tonight, or who you're most hoping to see get a win. Let's go with that. I'm gonna start with Shawn. Who do you want to get the win?
Man, I need and I hope and I want that The Harder They Fall gets the win. It was one of the rare times I jumped into a movie and was completely blown away. I love the narrative. I love the execution. Plus, it was just entertaining. And that's why we watch movies. I mean, let's not forget, we watch movies to be entertained. I love it. I love that I was learning and being entertained at the same time. And we can't ever forget that. And we must never forget movies are made for real people to enjoy.
Okay. All right, Carla.
Listen, I'm ride or die for my girl, Anjanou Ellis and King Richard.
Yes.
Anjanou Ellis and King Richard for the win, baby. That's all I got to say.
And Wilson, close us out with the goodness.
You know, the funny thing is, both of you, you know how it is when you're ready to ask a question and somebody else takes it. You know, both of you. You know, like I was campaigning for Anjanou because we all are old enough to see the work she's done for over 20 years. And she got an Oscar nomination. She's got I think a BAFTA nomination. She's got a Black Reel Awards nomination. You know, I'm hoping that she can just win it so that people can recognize that this girl's been around just as long as her colleagues, and for her to get a win, so that way the people know, hey, listen, you know, sometimes it's about the work, but sometimes it's about the longevity of what you've been putting in. And you may get an award for this, but it also counts for the other awards you didn't win that we should have recognized you before.
Well said, Wilson. Okay. So this is it. I am just going to say, I'm going to pick a long shot. For outstanding song, I want my girl Her with Automatic. Do, 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 do. That's my jam. This has been Sherin Nicole, Shawn Edwards, Wilson Morales, and the Curvy critic, Carla Renata, giving you the best of the Black Reel Awards 2022. We are excited. We hope you are too. And here is the countdown for that final minute.